Good morning to you, ladies, and I am back today with another her word today. Today, the word is going to be combat syndrome. Okay, a couple of days ago, I talked to you about Stockholm syndrome, and I told you that Stockholm syndrome, um, there was a relevance in the fact that you would be when you leave out of an abusive relationship, you would go into a new relationship, and you would be very what can I say? You would be very defensive, right? You would be extremely defensive. Okay, so let me hone in on that part of the Stockholm syndrome, which would be combat syndrome, right? Generally, it starts out as most people would say that it was post-traumatic stress, but actually, the most severe of it, the most acute of it, would be post-traumatic stress, and I'll talk to you about that in a couple of days. But combat syndrome, it is now called combat stress reaction, right? It's when a person is in a psychologically or physical situation that is so traumatic to them that it causes them intense stress, right? And when that happens over an extended period of time, um, people have a response to anything that might trigger them to be in that situation again. For example, and this is so common in women, right? I'm going to give you some real life examples. A woman in an abusive relationship, right? If every time that her husband comes home, he starts asking her questions and she feels interrogated, and what comes behind that is her getting hit by her husband, then automatically, if she moves into another relationship, that husband comes home, he starts asking her questions, her response is that of combat, it's that of defense, right? Because that's the norm, that's what she's used to. Meanwhile, the new husband is like, I just asked you a question, right? Uh, Other examples of this may be you're in a relationship or a friendship, and here the ducks are making all kinds of noise while I'm trying to do a video, but it's all good. um, anyways, other examples of combat syndrome may be somebody that's been in a relationship and um, you call, say for instance, you're calling your guy's phone and he doesn't answer your call every time that he's upset, and then and from now on, any time that you call him when he doesn't answer the phone, you assume that he's upset, and you get very defensive, very combative, right? These are all repercussions of combat syndrome. Also, like war veterans, we go through it like crazy. Sometimes, like even now, I can't even watch like certain movies, right? Sometimes I see things happen in government, and I'm just like, huh. Like I can get really kind of like, because I'm like, dang, that's gonna cause this, or that's gonna trigger this, right? It's simply because of I was in direct connection with September 11th at that time. At that time, I was the first responder on that day. I launched the first plane that dropped the first bomb in retaliation that day. So now I can't watch certain war movies. They make me anxious. They make me upset. I can't hear certain things. I literally do not discuss politics. I don't want to hear anything concerning politics. And this has been since 2002 when this thing happened. So, funny thing is, though, the more that we expose ourselves to the threats, is the way that we're going to change this behavior, right? There's a thing in psychology that we call desensitization, and the first stage of it is imagining that you're in that type of situation that causes you anxiety, right? Then, once you're in that situation, now you are approaching that situation, and finally you'll find yourself in it. But we'll talk about that one later on. Anyways, I wanted to talk to you today about comeback syndrome. it's a psychologically acute behavioral disorganization. That is what it is. So your thoughts, everything is disorganized because of habitual behaviors related to whatever your stimulus or whatever your trigger is. It is so important that we seek therapy if we need it, because therapy is what's going to help you identify these things. A lot of people are going through combat syndrome and they are not aware. They're not aware that this is a issue, this is a problem, and this is what's going to deter or cause traumatic relationships for them. You wonder why cycles are repeated. Cycles are repeated because people don't deal with therapy. Some people don't know. I'm telling you, if there is an inconsistency in your personality, in your character, and in your behavior, you have a responsibility to sit down and face that demon and destroy that demon, because it's going to delay you for the rest of your life. The enemy can never stop you from getting anything that the Lord says that you can have, right? But he certainly can delay you and being in the place and getting the thing that God requires for you to have, right? Listen, I love you, ladies. I love you. Practice combat syndrome. Sit down, give yourself a questionnaire. I think I'm going to start putting questionnaires and stuff online, making those things available to you, also so that you can go fill these papers out, find out if you are having these symptoms, right? And if by way of you doing a self-assessment and you see that you need, go and deal with it. It's nobody's business but yours. You can get therapy now online. Nobody has to know about it. But you must deal with the inconsistencies in your behaviors and in your thoughts patterns, right? I love you all. Have an amazing day.